Welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the Tier 2 Japanese light tank, the Type 95 Ha-Go. Now, is this tank any good? Well, not really. It's really average in every way except it has very good gun depression and a poor gun selection. So there's nothing really to say I want this tank because there's nothing really particularly to hate about it. It's just tank, meh, as they say. So let's get into the review. It has 175 hit points, which is on the lowish side. It weighs around the 8-ton mark, which is quite light, so don't ram anybody. Your speed is a 40 km/h speed, which is kind of average. There's a pretty big variance in light tanks, but 40 is probably average, low average. The traverse speed of 44 is also pretty much average, and the turret traverse of 36 is maybe a little bit above average. It's average-ish. The view range of 300 meters is average for this tier, and the signal range of 425 is also average. So nothing there to sing praise about, but nothing there to hate either. The camouflage on this tank is probably actually a little bit above average. It's not bad. The none of the tier 2 light tanks keep their camouflage whilst moving. I think at tier 3 that starts to happen, but not at tier 2. So it's pretty much in the same boat as all the other light tanks. Now the gun depression on this tank, at the moment I've got the gun fit. I think it's the howitzer gun, which I didn't like, but anyway. The gun depression is 15 degrees, which is very, very good. The only one better than that would be the D1 with 18 degrees. There's a couple others that share that 15 gun depression. Actually, the British light tanks do. But other than that, it's very, very good, and its elevation of 20 is quite good as well. So that's it for that side of things. Let's have a look at the grind for this tank. It's only a tier 2 tank, so the grind's very simple, very easy, very quick. Like I said, at the moment I've got this 5.7mm gun fitted, and I'll have a look at that. Don't bother with the first gun, we'll just get the second gun. So they call this the top gun, this 5.7cm gun. It's the biggest gun, but it's terrible. So I reckon this is the gun you want to use. I'll go through that first, which is the 37mm Type 98. It has a 26.09 rate of fire, which is very fast. Has a penetration of 40, which is on the low side for a tier 2 tank, and even a lot of the tier 2 auto loaders have more penetration than that, and they're able to fire sort of 4 shots in a second. The damage of 45 is also kind of on the lowish side. So I mean, I think the Cruiser 3, for example, has a penetration of about 45 and does about 45 damage per shot and can fire 4 shots in a couple of seconds. So when you're faced with that sort of opposition, this gun looks like pretty trash. Has a .44 accuracy, which isn't very good, and a 1.7 second aiming time, which is exceptionally good. Very, very good aiming time. Then you get this sort of, I guess it's like a howitzer type gun. So you principally probably want to fire HE shells from this. It has a rate of fire of 17.65, which is not bad for this type of gun. The penetration with the armor piercing shells is 29, which is terrible, but it does have a damage of 75, which is quite good. But there's not many people you can penetrate with that 29 pen, and then you could use premium ammo, go to 55. I didn't bother. Or you got the HE shells, which have 28 pen but 95 damage. They are explosive shells, so they kind of will still do damage even if they don't quite penetrate. However, I found these shells to not be very good. They did very low damage. Accuracy is 0.5, which is terrible, and 2.1 second aiming time is okay. But the shell velocity is, of course, very slow, as it is with all of the howitzer type guns, and the shells take forever to land. So hitting moving targets at long range is an art form. Very, very difficult to do. You need to be close. However, the armor of this tank, if you get close to anyone, they'll rip you to pieces. So, not a good gun. So really, I felt that I was stuck with this gun here, which doesn't have great pen, doesn't have great damage, but it does have a good rate of fire. It can work, this gun. You can do okay with it, but it's nothing special. But it's serviceable. At tier 2 it's fine. At tier 3 it starts to let you down with that penetration. Alright, the rest of the stuff, yeah, look, you just got to upgrade it. It's only a tier 2 tank. You upgrade it within a couple of games anyway. That's probably all there is to say about this tank. It's probably a tank you want to keep at range and get hull down. I'll go into Tank Inspector to show the armor, but the turret armor is quite good. The hull armor is absolutely terrible. So if you can get hull down, just expose your turret at range and fire, you'll probably do okay in this tank. Speed wise, yeah, it's not fast, but it's okay. It gets around okay. Let's get into Tank Inspector, and then I've got a game for you after that. Here we are in Tank Inspector, having a look at the armor on the HUD. Go. Now, straight into the colorized view, and you can see that the hull armor is absolutely terrible. The front plate there being 12mm thick, and the same with this upper area in front of the driver, etc. And this upper plate is only 9mm thick, as is the lower plate. So absolutely terrible. Everything in the game can pierce that, even tier 1s. We go to the side of the hull, and we have 10mm and 12mm down there, and the rear of the tank we have 10mm. Underneath there we have 9, and on top of the tank, the top deck, we have 6mm of armor. When we look at the turret though, it's a bit of a different story. The turret, we have 25mm of armor around the most of the turret, and indeed the cupola section there. The top of the cupola though is only 10mm thick. The mantlet area, we have armor that is 35, and in the center there it's 30. Now, whilst this does sound awful, it's actually more armor than the, I think it's the Chi-Ni, which is the medium tank, gets. So if you're trying to decide, should I go the light tank line or the medium tank line, at tier 2 the light tank is actually better. The hull armor is better on the Chi-Ni, but it's still terrible. So yeah, look, this in comparison, this has better armor than the Chi-Ni as far as the turret armor goes. It's faster than the Chi-Ni, and its gun, even though it doesn't have much pen, it actually has more penetration than the Chi-Ni does. So it's all round a better tank than the Chi-Ni. Although the Chi-Ni, even though Chi-Ni's medium, this is light, the Chi-Ni has slightly better camouflage. I don't understand that, but there you go. Alright, that's it for the armor. I mean, obviously anything is going to penetrate you, and anything hitting here is going, any HE shells that hit here will actually destroy your tank. But the turret, you will bounce, it's still not good armor on the turret, but you'll bounce a few of those sort of pesky auto-loader guns that have about a 29 penetration. You might bounce a couple off the mantlet, and at range you will bounce them off your turret, but at close range they will still penetrate you. Let's get into a game.
Move out.
The map is Ensk. It's a tier 3 game. Most of the tanks are tier 3, so a good chance to test out this tank under pressure. We're driving the tier 2 Japanese tank, the Hago. Yep. And I have the, I don't have the howitzer gun fitted. I have the gun, which I think is the best gun for this tank. I can't remember what it's called, but it has 40mm of penetration and does 45 damage per shot, and has a very good rate of fire. And a good aim time too, I think. Just lacks a bit of pen. Okay, tier 2, not so good tier 3. I decided to take up this position here behind this bush. I knocked down the tree here for a bit of extra concealment, and park here and wait for somebody to waltz up the street. Occasionally at tier 2, tier 3 you get people doing that. As you get higher in the tiers, people kind of work out it's not a good idea. I see a tree go down behind the wall, so I decide to fire a couple of shots there to see if we can hit them, fluke a shot. I'll also see them if they're still there. And here we go. T1E4. I think that's what it's called. T1E6, sorry. So no troubles penetrating that. Tier 2 tank. We've got a couple of tanks down this way now, so probably I'm not going to get a shot on anybody else here, so I decide to make my way out, find somewhere else to go. I see a T82 here moving along. He's probably going to come within our sights shortly. Here he is. And we nailed him. So he's a tier 3 tank, but I think he's tier 3. But terrible side armor, only about 7mm of side armor on that tank, but it has a fantastic gun, the T-82. You don't want to get in front of a T-82. Now, we've got a Panzer 1C up there. Normally they have auto loaders, and they are particularly deadly to us with poor armor. Okay, so the game's fairly close, 6-7. Trying to see if I can get a shot on this Panzer 1C. Try and help our teammate out here. Okay, we managed to get a shot in there. 51 damage, which is good damage for this gun. Now I see an LTP.
Penetration. Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy armor.
Oh, he gets us with a shot. Let's see where that went in. He got us through the cupola there. That's not good. So as you see there, the cupola, as I said, the turret armor is the best armor on this tank, but it's still really not enough to stop a lot of tanks from penetrating you. Really trying to get... Oh, this is a different 1C, but I'm really trying to get some shots on this guy.
Critical hit.
Critical? We don't want critical, we want damage. He's pummeling us there with his autocannon. So we got penetrated, what, 4 times by him then? Only small amounts of damage, but it's not good. Oh, and we track him. Oh, another critical hit. We really just... Oh, messed up my aiming there. That was pretty bad. Okay, so we ended up winning that game, and you can see there that was enough to get a Class 1 badge. So Mastery shouldn't be too hard to get in this tank. Yeah, next screen. We finished 3rd for experience, which is not bad considering it was a Tier 3, mostly Tier 3s in the game. And we did, you know, about the 3rd highest damage as well, or 4th highest maybe, not a lot of damage. Now we fired 18 shots, of which 11 hit, and but a lot of that was trying to fire through cover and things, so that's understandable. The gun's accuracy is not bad, but of the 11 hits, we actually got 11 penetrations. Unfortunately, I know at least 3 of them on that last tank there, all critical hits, but didn't actually, when I call penetrations, just sometimes you can just track them, I still call it a penetration, but anyway. We did 294 damage. Now we received 27 hits, so a lot of those were from the Panzer 1C's autoloader. We only received 1 other hit, I think, which was from that LTP. Of those 27 hits, 19 of them penetrated, and non-penetration 8. So I'd say our turret there, maybe our Manslet, managed to bounce a few of those shots. We spotted 1, damaged 5, and destroyed 3, which is actually pretty good. And we did 106 spotting damage as well. And if we forget about the mission reward, we earned about 10,000, and there's not much expense in your whole tank repair, and ammo is very cheap, so it's quite a profitable tank. And that 492 experience was enough to get Class 1, so I'd say about 550, 600 should see your Mastery badge. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching my review of the Type 95 Hawk Go. I will be reviewing the other light tanks in this series just so people can decide if they want to go the light tank path or the medium tank path. If you like the review, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ, and do have fun.